I'm Ronald Thwaites. I've been practicing law in Jamaica for over 50 years. And I'm happy to have these conversations with you about legal matters that concern everybody's lives, whether you live in Jamaica or you live abroad. Now, please remember, this is not a substitute for consulting your own lawyer if you have a particular issue or problem. Listen up.
What are the preliminary steps I need to take when purchasing land in Jamaica?
First of all, you have to find the piece of land that you want to buy. And of course, there may be very stark differences. It can be a piece of bushland. It may be a place with a big house or a little house. So identify the place that you want to buy. 1. 2, very important to find out who you're buying it from and to determine whether that person has the right to sell it. Yes? Brooklyn Bridge has been sold a million times. So has Coronation Market and King's House. So you have to get help. Check a title to make sure who owns it. But what if it doesn't have a title? Increase your checking to ensure who is on the tax roll and what other documents of conveyance there might be that establishes ownership. And if there are multiple owners, you can't simply deal with the one who says, "Me in charge." But you have to make sure that you have the consent of everybody. Identify the property, determine what you're going to pay for it, and determine who is, that there is a bona fide seller. That's to start. There's much more. So I guess I'm saying that you should have a lawyer acting on your behalf.
Does the property I am purchasing need to have a registered title?
It is best if you do, but and in some cases, if you're purchasing land, you can make that requirement of the vendor. You can say, "I'd love to buy that house, but really, I'm going to have to borrow some money from a mortgage company to finance it, and they're going to want to be secured by a registered title."
Do I need to have the land valued and surveyed before I purchase the land?
It's wise to do so. First of all, it may be a requirement of whatever financing you require, you're going to need. And in any event, it's by way of assurance, because valuation will confirm the reasonableness of the price that you are being asked to pay. And the land surveyor will determine whether the boundaries are intact and also be able to tell you whether there are any covenants on the land, either the land surveyor or the lawyer, any restrictions that might affect your use of the land.
Do I need to sign an agreement for sale with the seller of the property?
Oh yes. You can't sell land. Can I go back to what I said? Like you're cutting a slice of bread. Yes? Or parting something that is tangible. For the purchase of land to be legal, you must have a written agreement.
What other details should I know about the property I am purchasing?
Well, here's it. It's always good to check out necessary to check out the utilities. Is there a big water bill that somebody has left on the land? Because it's going to follow you. Is there a light bill if electricity is connected to the premises that you are buying? What about the land taxes? Have they been paid? Because it is the seller's responsibility to clear all of those before the transaction is completed. And that's why normally in purchasing land, you pay a deposit to a stakeholder.
Should I work with a realtor when purchasing a property?
A realtor will help you to identify the place you want. You may say, "I want a piece of farmland in St. Mary," or you may say, "I want a townhouse up in Constant Spring." And the realtor's business is to know what is on the market, the kind of prices for, he's not a valuator, but he can know the range and you will tell him what you want to spend and what purposes you need the property for. Usually the realtor charges a commission of about 5% on the purchase price, but that is paid for not by you, the buyer, but by the seller. Yes, comes out of the purchase price. So the realtor is helpful in that regard. With regard to a mortgage company now, that depends on your pocket. 90+% of us, when we're buying property, especially with the elevated values of properties in Jamaica now, even remote places, hillside, we need to borrow some money. And therefore the mortgage company, the building society, the credit union, all of these are financial institutions who are in the business of lending money to purchase property. Another good source I didn't mention is the National Housing Trust. And many of us, most of us who work in Jamaica, make housing trust contributions, and that's to be recommended. It's lawful, and it's to be recommended because they are a very economical source of financing for mortgages, and they will very often twin with a commercial mortgage company, which means that you get a better deal.
If I decide to build on the land, what are my next steps?
Get an architect to design what you want, and to make sure that you are building within the specifications of the law. A draftsman very often is used in place of an architect. He's not as qualified a person, but he can give you you can tell him what you want and the parameters of a building. It's not good for you to simply say, I'm going to build what I please, yes, irrespective of the regulations. And the plans for the building have to be submitted to the local authority, that's the municipal corporation, the parish council as it used to be called. And they have to vet those plans to ensure that they fall within the zoning requirements. Yes, you can't put a funeral parlor in the middle of a residential complex. So you have to abide by those, and once you get the approval for the building approval, you go ahead to find a contractor and make the arrangements.